The invention of the printing press in the mid-15th century created a cultural revolution, first felt in religious life. The Bible and other religious texts could now reach large audiences to be read, discussed, and examined. Europe only began to recover in the second half of the 15th century, thanks to the cessation of plagues and the absence of destructive wars. In 1500, Europe was a labyrinth of about 1,500 states, large and small. Although Jews had not generally lived separately from the Christian population until the 15th century, they were always marginalized by society. After the 15th century, they were forced by civil and religious authorities to live in separate places. Popes required Jews in Rome to wear identifying clothing. Venice established the first Jewish ghetto in 1516. Many Jews, barred from entering certain professions, had to move from place to place in search of towns where they could live in relative peace. According to Machiavelli, regardless of whether its form was a monarchy or a republic, the government's goal should be to bring stability to the city. A sense of civic responsibility could only be restored through good laws and institutions, but according to Machiavelli, these were entirely dependent on military power. Most colonists insisted that God was on their side. Lord Curzon once remarked that the British Empire was blessed by God's grace as the greatest force for good the world has ever seen. A South African offered a more realistic perspective with this comment. When you arrived, we had the land, and you had the Bible. Now we have the Bible, and you have the land. As cities grew, those with money and leisure time found more things to do. The largest English cities had theaters, concert halls, clubs for gentlemen, scientific societies, and racetracks. Cities prided themselves on their development, printing city guides and directories promoting their shops. Elegant brick and stone buildings replaced the rickety wooden structures of the medieval era. After the victory against Austrian forces at the Battle of Lodi, which opened the way to Milan, Napoleon had this realization. I became aware that I was a superior being, and I gained the passion to achieve great things that until then had only filled my thoughts as a magical dream. It was as if I was moving through the air, seeing the world rush beneath me. The Ottoman Turks had a large army, mostly composed of converts to Islam, particularly infantry, the Janissaries, and a powerful navy. Effective diplomacy complemented their military strength. In the first half of the 16th century, the Ottomans expanded eastward after annexing Egypt, reaching Baghdad in what we now call Iraq in 1534, and then the Persian Gulf. This period marked the zenith of the Ottoman Empire, which relied on loyal local elites to generate the revenues needed to finance the state. For the next few centuries, Catholic Europe would view Islam as a constant threat to its religion and culture. Yet, under Ottoman Turkish rule, a significant portion of the population remained Christian and was allowed to continue practicing their faith. Despite the presence of a common Islamic high culture, the Muslim Ottoman Turks accepted non-Muslims into their empire, who always made up a significant portion of the population. In contrast, Christian states systematically persecuted and expelled Muslims. For centuries, Western writers competed to depict the Ottoman Turks as God's scourge, barbarians, despots, and tyrants. However, the Russian Orthodox Church, heavily influenced by the Byzantine heritage, the Greek Orthodox Church, also an Eastern Orthodox Church, the Roman Catholic Church, and Islam coexisted remarkably harmoniously in the Balkans under Ottoman rule. The Ottomans established the millet system, granting religious minorities autonomy and appointing religious community